G'day folks, hope you're doing great. Raymond Foster here. Within so-called spiritual circles, pretentious, fake spiritual subcultures, groups, circles, etc. There is a common anti-white meme pathogen which gets around, which is the meme pathogen that there is one human race, alright? That we're all the same one human race. Which then is obviously just used as a justification, an excuse for the harm, abuse, etc., discrimination of members of Western kind. So, white erasure and anti-whiteism. It's never actually used to try to benefit everyone as a whole. It's not like, hey, we're all one human race, so let's all have solidarity and as one human. It's, hey, we're all one human race, so fuck you, whitey. You don't get to have your unique culture, your unique ways, etc., etc. We're gonna take over your white towns, your white cities, your white nations, rename things, tell you that you're bad for building all the good the world has ever seen. Yeah. So yeah, it's never about, oh, we're all one human race, so let's all love each other and get on and yay. It's, we're all one human race, so fuck you, white man. You don't get to be unique. You don't get to keep anything. You don't get to exist. You don't get to have human rights, because fuck you, white people. We're all one human race, so fuck whites. If you actually pay attention, look in the world, whenever this idea, this concept arises, or we're all one human race, that's all it's ever about. When have you ever, find me one example of this concept being used in the world, and it's actually with some intent to actually help everyone as one holistic group? You're not going to find it because it doesn't exist. Look around in the world, every time, if you actually examine the phenomena, you will notice that every single time this meme pathogen, this concept arises, there is an underlying attack and form of discrimination against the white race, which is this is being used as a justification, a guise for that underlying intent. Every single time. But I wanted to speak about it because, again, it is very common in so-called spiritual circles, fake spiritual circles, that is. People who pretend to be spiritual. They have an identity of being spiritual, when spirituality is simply not having an identity. That's all it means. It just means knowing yourself as you are, being true to yourself and not having some fake identity, some idea that you think up about yourself. That's literally all spirituality is. So these people who have ideas of themselves as being spiritual aren't being spiritual, because, again, the only thing that it means to, the only aspect there even is, the only factor there is to being a spiritual being or to practice spirituality is to transcend any form of identity. Just to not have an identity, not have a fake idea of yourself. So the very concept, the very notion of having an idea of yourself as a spiritual practitioner is a fake idea of yourself, which means you're not spiritual. You're material. That's materialism. So the vast majority of people who are spiritual seekers or on a spiritual path are materialists who have just created a spiritual identity, which is the opposite of spirituality. Anyway, in these circles and these types of folk, they will often say, because they live in their identity and their story, in the anti-white narrative, primarily, they will often say this concept, this meme pathogen, right? That, oh, we're all one human race, so screw the white race and that justifies white erasure, etc., discrimination, anti-whiteism. Now, their reason for this, why do they come to this conclusion from the anti-white narrative? The premises which lead to this conclusion in the anti-white narrative, at least within these circles, is that because in reality, truly, all things share the same spirit of the Creator. Okay, so everything has the same self, the same I am. When I say I am Raymond, I am saying I am Raymond. When you say I am yada yada, I am so and so, I am John, I am Mary, you are saying I am this. Before you refer to yourself, to your name, you refer to yourself as I. I do it as well. I just did it. I just did it. Because I am I. I am Raymond. I'm not Raymond. As I am Raymond. And you have that same I that I have. So we all share the same being. Everything in creation has the same being. The name of God is I am. And I am that I am. That's why in the Gospels it said, be still and know that I am God. And that same I am is your I am. Alright? Because we all share the same Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit. That's what the Holy Spirit is. The Holy Spirit's name is I am. It's called self. And all beings have that same self. And this is a spiritual truth. But does this mean that that overlaps into the world and for some reason we should justify anti-whiteism and use concepts like, oh, we're all one human race? No. In fact, if we wanted to be correct and scientific, there are multiple human races. There are even multiple human species. What we call races are actually different species of human. If you have different color skin, you're a different species. Not the lie that you're the same one human race. You're not even different human races. Different color skin means, scientifically speaking, this is what the actual words mean. If we have different color skin, that means we're different human species. But in saying that as well, what does that mean? Does that mean we should be divided or against each other? Or there should be any form of hostility? No. That just means we should recognize the truths and facts of reality before us as they are. And it is a fact of reality that if you have a different color skin to a different human being, you're a different species of human. Like there were Neanderthals. We're a different species. And we're still hominid-like creatures. We still have 2 eyes, a mouth, a nose, 2 legs, 2 arms. We look pretty similar, but there's a lot of differences. And one of the big ones you can see straight away is if we have a different color skin. Okay? That means different species of human. And then within a species of humans, there are different races. So you have like the white Australian race, and you have American race, English race, the French race. Right? These are human races, and there's hundreds of human races, which are categories within that larger categories, which are the human species. So you got like the white species, the black species, Asian, etc. Within that you got the Japanese race, the Chinese race, within the Asian species, obviously. Within the white species of humans, you have the white Australian race, that's myself. You've got English, you've got Irish, French, all these different races, what we call nationalities or ethnicities, are different breeds or races of a species of human. Okay? That's the facts of the actual science. And if you don't believe it, go read Darwin's work himself, who developed a theory of evolution. Alright? That's just how it works. Again, but does this mean there should be any hostility because we're different species? I, as a white man, am a different species to a black man. The same way a different type, like an alligator, is a different species to a crocodile. Does that mean we should be against each other? No. Alright? Because it is still true that our being, our essence, is the same essence. We share the same I am. So we should get on with all things. We should care for all things. But that doesn't mean we should deny the reality of our own being, of our own vessel, of our own body, our own tribe. We were created in the image of God, and God created many tribes, many nations, many species of humans and hominids, right? For a reason. Because He loves a unique world with all these, varying creations. We all share that same spirit, same, spark of God is within all of these varying creations. But the varying creations are beautiful in their uniqueness. So a true spiritual understanding does not negate that we are unique races and unique species even of human beings. It accepts this, and it has no issue with this. The idea of trying to destroy the uniqueness and trying to deny the separateness and the difference between the different tribes of human beings is clearly only a satanic idea rooted in materialism. It's the building of the Tower of Babel, again, satanic idea, a worship of Satan, of destructive forces, of evil. And the only goal of it would be to destroy all the unique cultures, destroy everyone's ways, so we have no connection to culture, ancestors, tradition, myth, or country, and we become nothing more than worker slaves in a globalist, consumerist, tyrannical, authoritarian state. Satan's slave system for humanity. So that's the multiculturalism and diversity and, we're all one human race. That's Satan's Tower of Babel to enslave the entire human population, to enslave humanity. But God's plan is for us all to express and to love each other's unique differences as separate tribes of God, and to understand and accept that we are indeed even different species of human being. Not just different race, but we are different species. Again, it is only Satan, it is only the devil that would want you to think otherwise, so that you can be just turned into a materialistic, consumerist cog in his beast machine. Whereas if you keep your uniqueness, you respect the uniqueness and difference of those of different species, different race, etc., as unique creations, unique tribes, nations of God, and you work with them for their well-being and the well-being of your people and your tribe, then Satan loses and God wins. Pretty straightforward. So that's a summary and a correct understanding of the false, fake, pretentious, spiritual, anti-white concept and delusion and lie, misconception, that, quote unquote, we are one human race. We're all the same one human race. Which again is simply just Satan's lie to try to build a slave system, a Tower of Babel, in which he can enslave all of the separate human species under one slave system. So, that's all you need to know about that whole topic. If anyone wishes to debate this or argue, etc., I'm happy to debate. I'll debate you on live TV. And I'll make you look like an absolute fool. Because you know already, deep down, even if you're in disagreement, deep down, you know I'm 100% correct. So that's enough for that subject. It annoys me to hear people fall into these pretentious, fake, ooh, look at me, I'm so good, I'm so nice, I'm so noble, look, I'm promoting the current thing, bullshit trends and subcultures and little styles of fake spirituality. It's such an annoying thing. A true spiritual being seeks truth and accepts the harsh realities before them. And if it is simply a truth that as a white man I'm a different species to a black man, then why would I not just accept that as the reality and just live from that reality and understanding of reality with compassion and love and care for all white people and all black people with unconditional love? What difference does it make for me to accept the reality, to understand the truth that we are a different species? Does it mean that I can't share the same love? I can't care for a black man the same because he's a different species? If that's the case, and if you think that's the case, then there's something wrong with you, and you lack compassion, and you don't even know what love is. Because love is not limited by this or that species. Love is an unconditional pouring forth of your being to serve whatever it is that you love, to honor it, to worship it with your entire being. So no distinctions can limit true unconditional love. Therefore, to even hold such an idea, to even suggest that, because I don't see a black man as the same species as me, that I wouldn't be able to care for him or it creates some type of issue, means you just simply don't know how to care. You don't know what love is, because I could love an animal. I could love a horse. I love the goannas. I love the birds. I love the trees. So I can accept the reality that I am a different species to a different colored person. So I'm not the same species as an Asian person. I'm not the same species as a black man or a black woman, In the same way, I'm not the same species as a goanna. But that doesn't mean I have any extra hostility or, incompatibility with being compassionate or caring towards those individuals because they are of a different species. And if you truly understood spirituality and you truly felt that you were connected to all things and all things were connected through the Spirit, the self, the I am of God that dwells within all things, then what difference would it make the boundaries of species or race or family or anything like this, if deep down we're all one connected being? Why would it matter if I understand that a black man isn't the same species as me because I'm a white man? Clearly, it doesn't matter, and it brings you closer to God, closer to righteousness, to walk in truth and the light of truth, while still upholding compassion and love for all things. To walk in misconception and delusion is a sure way to cause issues in the world and for yourself. So there you go folks, that's enough of that subject. Any questions, you want me to talk about anything specific, just drop it in the comments below, and I hope you have a great week. Take it easy.